1 minute past.
I'm recording.
Thank you very much. Welcome everyone to tonight's meeting of the East Grinstead Town Council planning meeting. We are going to start the evening with public participation. I know we've got a few members of the public in who want to speak tonight. So I understand that we've got Astra Fear wants to speak, and David Banks and Charles Amos want to speak tonight. So if we could start with Astra, you'll have 2 minutes to speak.
Yeah.
10 seconds to go. I shall raise my hand, and if you could just wind it up, and then we can mute you again from there. Sure. So if you would like to start, that would be brilliant.
Great. Firstly, an introduction. My name is Astra Fear. I'm an East Grinstead resident, having moved here from an early age with my parents, and now living here with my husband and 2 daughters. As well as my parents living here, my uncle, aunt, cousins, and grandparents have all lived in East Grinstead, and I am the originator of the Pickfield engineering application. Pickfield engineering for the past 20 years has been used as a rather large man cave, if you will. No business has been run from the property, but instead it has been used to build a kit car. Looking at the option of using the building as an industrial site will bring more noise and more traffic to the area that I feel will adversely affect neighbours. For example, if we were to lease the property to a tyre fitter, this would be extremely noisy with pneumatic wheel nut screw guns operating from 8 AM to 6 PM Monday through Saturday. Also, the traffic that would be brought to the road would far exceed traffic generated from a residential scheme. It is also my understanding, with the sign posted at the entrance of Durkins Road, that the residents do not want any industrial vehicles driving in and out of the road. Of course, without delivery access, an industrial company would have a hard time operating there. As the originator of this planning application, I have taken steps to reach out to residents, to understand their concerns, and to get advice from council. We have worked out a design in line with the pre-application advice given and allowed for parking. We have also carried out all surveys requested to view traffic impact, drainage plans, etc., and to ensure that our planning application does not negatively affect neighbours. With housing shortages in East Grinstead, I feel the planning application is the best utilisation for Pickfield engineering. Thank you for listening to me.
Thank you very much. Perfect. Thank you. Great timing. Well done. We have seen the photos that you sent through. They have been sent round to committee, so they have all seen them after. So thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
Very good. Okay, can we go to David Banks, if you would like to have your 2 minutes, please, sir. Did you hear me okay, David? Would you like to start?
I think he's having some difficulty with his audio, Chair.
Yeah.
Not a problem.
Do you want to
go? Whilst David fixes his audio, maybe Charles, you could do your 2 minutes then.
I'd like to speak in favour of the Blackwell Farm Road development. Now, the Town Council had 2 objections to this development going ahead last time. The first concerns green space and the fact that since there are other large items of green space that can be built on the East Grinstead, we should not build on this small piece of green space. I don't think this argument holds whatsoever. East Grinstead house prices are far too high. They are 16 times average East Grinstead wages. And I do not think that the residents' objections on the basis of it will make their access harder to their homes, that is a valid reason for stopping the developer from building on his own land to provide homes for people. This planning committee's focus ought to be on reducing the house price level in East Grinstead, and that has to be done by building more homes. The second issue concerns parking. The developer has commissioned Beth Newis and Associates, a road safety consultant firm, to do a road safety audit, and the road safety audit has concluded that with designated visibility splays along with double yellow lines, that the access to the junction should be more than easy. The developer has also put in place plans for 20+ parking spaces, which means it should be able to, as a development, more than easily deal with the increased demand for car parking spaces. And I would therefore urge this planning committee to support this development as opposed to opposing it as they did last time. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I think David now looks like he swapped to Astra's chair in the in the real world, not the virtual world. So, David, would you like to have your 2 minutes now, please, sir?
Can you hear me now?
We can.
Okay, good. Can I speak now?
You can, please do.
Thank you. Good evening, and my name is David Banks. I speak in support of the application. I'm grateful to the town clerk, the chairman, and the committee for the opportunity to speak. I am the applicant's uncle. I was asked by Mrs. Fear, Astra, to help her with this as I was more familiar with the planning process, as I myself previously was a member of East Grinstead Town Council and the Planning Committee. I believe the application is a positive one for the neighbourhood of Durkins Road and the town. It proposes the replacement of an old, rundown and somewhat ugly industrial unit with a new, high quality and useful residential unit. There have been attempts to market the unit as an industrial site, but these have come to nothing. The conversion to useful residential accommodation is the most advantageous use of this site. In the neighbourhood plan, the area of Charlwood's industrial estate is considered on page 50. It is described as, quote, old, established and slightly run down with many empty units, unquote. The plan goes on to say that the industrial estate sits adjacent to and is surrounded by a well-established large residential estate area, and that it is the view of the town council that over the longer term, the industrial estate should be redeveloped to provide a mix of uses, including housing. I suggest that the application conforms with this ambition. This unit is on the very outskirts of the industrial estate and is no longer linked to it by road, and it would seem a good opportunity for this site to become part of the residential housing area of that part of the town. I know that the applicant has gone to great lengths to satisfy the concerns of nearby residents and will continue to engage with them on any of the concerns should the development proceed. I would respectfully request the committee to recommend the approval of this application. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I think that is all members of the public who want to speak. Thank you very much for joining us tonight and being so concise and on time. Well done. Thank you. Could we move on to item 2 of the agenda now, please, Town Clerk? Apologies for absence.
Yes, Chair, I've got apologies from Councillor Mrs. Moxford, who's detained at work, Councillor Odie, who's stuck in traffic, and Councillor Osborne, who we believe is away.
Thank you. Item number 3 is to receive the minutes of the meeting held on the 3rd of August. I would like to propose them. Could I ask for a second, please? Are there any comments or questions on those? In that case, I'll show of hands in support of adopting them, please. Thank you. I will obviously, outside of this meeting, be signing those once back at East Court. Item number 4 is to receive the members' declarations of interest. Could you please raise your hand if you wish to declare an interest? Okay, I think we go, John, we'll go Councillor DeBell, please.
Thank you, Chairman. I'm a member of Mid Sussex District Council Planning Committee, and as such, I reserve the right to change my opinion if further information comes forward later on.
Thank you. And Councillor Mr. Belsley.
Thank you, Chairman. I'm not on the Mid Sussex Planning Committee, but just declaring a personal interest, as just in case, as Blackwell Farm Road used to be owned by Mid Sussex District Council, and I'm a Mid Sussex District Councillor. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Chairman, if I can take Councillor Mrs. Belsley and Councillor DeBell also in on that application, of that declaration, please, as obviously they are also elected members of Mid Sussex District Council.
Would be good, thank you. Are there any others at all that I've missed there? Anyone? No? Okay. Chairman's announcements. There aren't a huge number to make today. I'm going to roll it actually into item number 6, which is the planning consultation changes, to really urge all of you on this committee and my other fellow councillors to please do send your responses in to the quite drastic changes that are being proposed to the planning system in the UK. That if they go through in their current form, personally, I think would make this committee almost redundant and turn some of the planning into a bit of the Wild West out there. So please do go and read them carefully and send your thoughts so we can put a properly worded response back on this. I think as a small historic market town, we really need to look at these carefully and we must make a response. Of all the things that we've been asked to make responses on, this is one that I feel we really, really need to do. So please go and read it and look, committee. We do have until October to make this, so we've got a few weeks yet to get a good response. So please do get them to us sooner rather than later, so we can, the clerk and I can formulate a good response. Thank you. So that was item number 6 as well. So we'll go on to item number 7, which is protected tree applications. I'm going to share my screen. He says, which for some reason it's not letting me do. There we go, thank you. Hopefully you can see that now. Good, thank you, Zoom. Right, work, Zoom work. Okay, so protected tree applications, we only have 2 this week. Normally we take these on block to refer to the tree officer. I'd like to propose that we do that. Could I have a second for that? Are there any other comments or questions that wish to be added to any of these from committee at all? No. In that case, can I have a physical show of hands to refer to tree officer? Thank you. So first item of the day today is DM 20-1333. We're all very aware of this. This is the land at junction of Blackwell Farm Road and Holteye Road, construction of 10 affordable dwellings. Now this has obviously come before us before, and we have made recommendation on it. The major changes between this application and the last time is the road traffic survey that we wanted to be seen. They have done a road traffic survey, but they have done it in lockdown, not in normal school and traffic use. They've admitted that this is wrong, and they have proposed to do it on the 28th of August, which is a bank holiday. I would like to make a recommendation from this committee that our original comments stand, the same as before, and nothing else has changed, but with the added comment that we want to see a traffic survey done under normal road conditions, not on a bank holiday or lockdown or a weekend, but when the school is open and operating and cars are running at normal time. That's what I'd like to propose that we do. Could I have a second for that proposal, please? Thank you, Councillor Bell. Are there any other comments to be added to that at this time? Councillor Mrs. Belsey.
Thank you. As one of the ward councillors, I continue to recommend refusal of the application. And the first point I was going to make was about the traffic survey in lockdown, and so I'm fully in support of your recommendation. There's a few other points that have been raised to me by my residents of late. Firstly, the decision is to proceed is going to be made by the planning officers who do not appreciate the road safety aspects. However, this is not going to be the case, as their delegated authority is up to 9 units and this is up to 10 units. So I know that many residents were going to be listening to this planning meeting. And again, the question of the site needing to be piled has been raised. When looking at the application, the officer has pointed out that he looks at all aspects of the planning regulation and doesn't take into account the condition of the land. The geological survey that has been carried out indicates that the site may need to be piled, and if so, the planning officer would ensure that this was put into the building regs. There's also an ongoing problem with the drainage and surface water, no doubt due to the fact that the site had previously a pond on it. And it is pointed out to me that the ecological survey was a desk survey, which I understand is not unusual. However, for the record, a site survey was carried out in May 2019. This is, however, an ongoing problem, the surface water, and further discussions with Southern Water are taking place. There are many problems with this application to build these dwellings, and although I appreciate affordable dwellings are required, as pointed out by Councillor Amos, they are required in town, I remain of the opinion that this site is not suitable for ecological, environmental, safety and highway issues, and I continue to recommend that the planning application should be refused. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you very much there, Councillor Belsey, for bringing your ward perspective to it and the concern of your residents. So I think we can enhance our objection from last time.
Thank you.
So with that, with those comments, the ones we made before and the road traffic survey, are we happy to proceed to a vote on that? Yes, don't give a show of hands in support of refusing the statements before with those amendments. Thank you very much. Okay, so this is moving on to DM 2015-16 Pickfield Engineering site on Durkins Road that we've heard spoken about in public question times and we have seen at our last meeting. This is demolition of the existing building and erection of a building comprising 8 dwellings, 4 one-bedroom flats and 4 two-bedroom flats with parking. The difference between these plans and the ones that we saw before is that we now have a marketing information submitted on the 26th of June and a drainage report submitted on the 6th of July. I think all of you were in the meeting before, but I will just show you the drawings and some of the photos from the site that we saw last time. But could I ask Councillor Dooley to lead on this, please?
Thank you. What we'd like.
You sure?
Hello. So on this, sorry, the people talking in the background, I can hear noise. It's distracting.
All right, I've muted.
Okay, thank you.
Right,
so I've been looking at this one quite a lot. It's quite a challenging one, this one, because I understand the level of work that Ms. Sphere has put into this, and I totally take on board that and the comments that have been made. However, I've looked at the site. I've been driven down there myself a number of times, and although taking on board the comments that were made by Mr. Banks, that you know, we are looking to redevelop that the area and make it more of a residential area. I think, given the level of access at the moment to that site, unfortunately, I think that it's the only access point in and out. And I think, unfortunately, I think the photos that were provided also actually highlighted how bad that access would be. And although I take on board those comments that, you know, it wouldn't be great for residents to have a commercial unit there, I think that would struggle as well to get access through there, because currently there is a number of cars parked down the road. There isn't any traffic restrictions. From what I'm aware, West Sussex haven't actually done a direct visit. They've reported on it to say they're happy with it, but the derogatory effect that would have if they did put markings down there and made it a double yellow would mean that you'd have a number of current residents wouldn't be able to park in a very tight area already. I mean, it's a real difficult one, because I think what Mrs. Sphere has done is proposing a good idea, but unfortunately it's not in a great location given the current circumstance and the current access. I think the points that we made in the previous meeting all really do stand. The parking, I know that she's looking to address the drainage, but there's been a huge number of the residents have made objections to this. Some of the objections with regards to the drainage and the kind of the work that would go there could be the potential detrimental effect to properties, and if there was, you know, major drilling or major construction work going down there, and there are cellars in some of those properties down there. So I think at this point I would have to stand by the original decision to propose that currently, as it stands, that this is recommended for refusal, unfortunately.
Thank you, Councillor. Could I have a second for that, please? Thank you, Councillor Woodgate. Does anyone want to make any further comment on this before I do? Councillor DeBella.
Thank you, Chairman. I understand the frustrations of owning a place like this, because quite rightly it's been pointed out to us that although it's former engineering works and it is supposedly for industrial use, it actually says on the signpost going up there that this is a living area, and it's not for industrial use. So if you say that on the actual road sign going up, it's a thorny one. Personally, I think that 8 dwellings in this little area would be too much anyway. That's my personal view, and I wondered if maybe it will eventually, if this isn't successful going through, if it might be one of the best sort of lock-up office areas in the town. I really don't know, but I support the comments. It's a thorny one, it's a difficult one, and I feel very, very sorry that that it is such an awkward place, but I do support the comments that have been made.
Thank you, Councillor Dooley. We'll come back to you at the end, just when the final round up. I'd like to say that I hear Councillor Dooley's comments, and I still support them as nothing has really changed apart from that marketing and the drainage survey since the last of the plans we sat on. It hasn't really changed enough to shift that decision. My concern is that 8 flats is quite a lot in that space. I wonder whether the development, because architecturally it's quite attractive. I think the design looks nice. It is much higher than the original building. You can see from the red line on that plan, whether maybe doing less flats and having more parking might be more palatable to planning and to the residents. So maybe a lower building, still architecturally attractive, but with less units. So putting less burden on that road might be a way of getting some usage on the site in the future. I think 8 might be too many. Whether that's economically viable, I don't know for Mrs. Fear or not, but that would be my kind of thoughts moving forward with this application, so that it doesn't just stall and rot. So that would be my thoughts on it for the future. Are there any other comments at all before I come back to Councillor Dooley? No, in that case, Councillor Dooley, would you like to finalise?
Yeah, I think, I mean, again, it's a real difficult one, because I understand the amount of work that's gone in on this, and again, it may be that you're correct in the compromise of the number of properties that go in there might, because there'd be, I think 8 properties is quite a lot of impact on the drainage that's there, because it has only been a small a small commercial site where there wouldn't have been that number of people utilising that much sort of water at any time. My other concern, again, with that access area is that as Ms. Fear actually sort of highlighted, that it's not suitable really for goods vehicles, but then you're also going to be getting services such as refuse trucks that would need access down there, and potentially, I know that there's been a fire survey done, and they say that they can, from the hydrant, they can reach 45 metres. That's on the actual study, but it also says that's only to the door of some of the properties, and they would have to have that consideration of sprinklers being put in there, which I don't think are in the current plans. So I think it's going to be a kind of, when you review what you can do with this site, I think there's going to be a number of considerations, and I think access is really going to be the most challenging thing, because if you do take away that parking down there, then that's going to create a challenge with the existing neighbours. But I really hope there is a compromise somewhere, because I understand the amount of work that's gone into this, and it's just such a shame to have to kind of make that decision at this point in time. But I think it's the right one for the residents and for the current situation.
Thank you. In that case, committee, can we have a show of hands in support of recommending refusal on the grounds stated previously and on the arguments heard tonight, please? And in support? Okay. Thank you. So that having recommended for refusal at this stage. Right, let's move on to the next item, which is DM 2025-20. This is for noting, please, committee.
Noted.
Okay, so we're going to go to Herentide for DM 2025-57. This is 10A Southlands. This is proposed first floor side extension. So normally we would have Councillor Odie, but he is stuck in traffic and can't make the meeting, so I will lead for him tonight. So this is the bottom of Southlands, where Mill Way joins Southlands with the school here, with a little green area of land backing onto the pond behind it. Fairly simple from these plans. I think you can probably see, committee, of a side extension over the existing ground floor extension to the left-hand side of the property. I know the area very well, and I've got to say there's a huge bit of green land to the side, no neighbours to the left-hand side where this is going. I see no problem with it, and I would fully support approval for that. Could I have a second for that at all? Councillor Pavor, thank you. Any other comments on committee for that one? In that case, can I have a show of hands in support, please? Thank you. Next one's a slightly more interesting one for town. This is DM 2021-68. This is Mason and Beer Solicitors, 6 High Street. This is installation of a studio. We don't have any town. Oh, we've got Jason here. That's fine. Okay, sorry, Jason. I didn't see that Tony was in here. So, Councilwood Gate, would you like to lead us on that one?
Yeah, thank you, Chair. Looking at this one, slightly concerned because I've been in the conservation area, but having looked at the report the conservation officer's done, there is no concerns on their part, as this is a temporary structure tucked away at the back and not visible from the front of the property in any way. As I say, it is a temporary structure, so I don't have any major concerns after this. So I would like to push for approval on this one, but with a caveat that it is reviewed yearly or so that this doesn't suddenly become a permanent structure that they then try to keep for X number of years. So I'd like to push for approval, but with that caveat in there, please, Chair.
Thank you. Could I have a second for that, please? Thank you, Councillor Bell. I think it's important for committee to, I don't know how many of them probably haven't bothered reading through it, because why would you? But this is needed as almost like a reception room, I understand, because of COVID and because they share their front entrance with the dentists that are above the solicitors, so they can use this as a separate entry to meet people rather than having to use the dentist entry as well. So I would completely agree with Councillor Woodgate that because they stated that it is a COVID and social distancing response that they're doing this for, that it will not need to be a permanent building. And I would like to see that there is a review put in on it, that it doesn't end up staying there for forever. So I completely agree with that. Any other comments on this at all? Councillor Mrs. Belsey. We can't hear you, Councillor Belsey, you're muted.
What's the proposal then? Are we going to actually put a 12-month review, or are we actually going to put that in the application approval?
I would like to see that, yeah. I'd like to see, well, actually, I think we could probably be even clever on the wording, if it's okay, which is a 12-month review after social distancing has been lifted.
Fine. Yes, I agree with that.
That could last longer. And I think once social distancing has been lifted, we can give them a year to clear it up, and then.
Yes, I agree with that. Thank you.
Are you happy with that, Councillor Woodgate?
Yes, Chair. That's a good response. Yeah, let's go with that one.
Fine. Can we have a show of hands in support of that then? Thank you. So the next two are, we're going to just jump around on the agenda a little bit because we've got the same property, but we've got the listed building and the housing one. So it's DM20, 2674 and 2759 are the same property. So we'll have the same discussion in 2 votes as we normally do. This is Loading Barn, Mill Place Farm, Vowles Loan, King's Coat, East Grinstead, installation of roof light window. I think this photo probably says more than the plans do, but this is the plans, and this is the photo showing the little square here where it wants to, they wish to put a new roof light window. Again, Councillor Odie's not here. I haven't had any notes from him in particular about this. I personally can't see this being a problem at all. There are plenty of roof lights in there. It's very remote. They're not looking at anybody. It is obviously in a listed area, but that building isn't particularly listed and it has roof lights in it already. So I see no problem with it at all. So I recommend approval for that. Could I have a second? Before. Any other comments on that at all? No. In that case, another show of hands in support of the house application. And a show of hands in support of the listed building application. Thank you, Committee. Okay, I think it's a conspiracy by Councillor Odie to get stuck in traffic on the day that he has so many applications. We shall go back to Southlands and Herentide for DM20, 2684. This is 45 Southlands. This is a single-storey rear extension and new porch to the front. So this is the house on the corner of Southlands and Hurst Farm Road. Probably a lot of you who've driven up Hurst Farm Road will see this house. It's got a flagpole in the back garden on a cart on a little play fort. Again, rather large house on a rather large plot, going out to the back and improving the front of it. I think you can see here there's a very standard lantern bifolds to the rear and a new extended porch. As these houses, you do go straight in to a very small porch. So I imagine it's for boots and shoes as you go in. Again, looking at the houses and the size of the land here, I have absolutely no problem with this at all. And I would recommend approval. Can I have a second on that? Thank you. Any other comments on this one at all? In that case, can I have a show of hands in support, please, committee? Thank you. Okay, we'll go to Ashplatz for DM20, 2713. This is 36 Hackington Close. This is double-storey flank and part rear extension with a hipped roof, single-storey to remainder of rear with flat roof, single-storey to front with bay window added and hipped roof over. So this is on Hackington here. And here shows the in purple to build. And here are the plans showing the after at the front compared with the before and the new roof lines. Councillor Mrs. Belzy, would you like to start us on that one?
Yes, I'm sorry, I should have looked. Are there any objections from neighbours on this?
On this one, I don't believe so. The only Eastern Society has something to say about it,
Mm,
but nobody else.
nobody else. No, I thought at first it was overdevelopment of the site, but looking at the plans, I think it's okay. There are other houses along that have done various extensions, so I think I'm support. I can't see any particular reason to refuse it, so I probably would support it, the application.
Could I have a second for that, please? Okay. Any other comments there on this one? Councillor DeBell.
Best if I unmute myself, isn't it, before I start speaking? Yes, it does look a little unneighbourly in that it goes right up to the border, and the concern from the East Grinstead Society is that it seems to encroach actually over onto the neighbours. I'm a little bit surprised that they haven't said anything about it. It is right up and to the border, and it does look something like unneighbourly. I would just bring that before the committee.
Thank you, Councillor DeBell. The only thing I would say is it does come up against the border, but if you look at the purple infill, the neighbours' properties on both sides extend beyond the current houses building line anyway.
Thank you.
Councillor Favor. You're muted, sir.
Yeah, that's my first impression as well. It's unneighborly because of it almost touching the neighbor, and that's my my impression. So for me, it's still unneighborly.
Okay, thank you. Any other comments on this? Okay. Thank you. So in that case, can we take a vote in support of this application, please? It is carried, but against, for the record. Thank you. Okay. So we're going to go to DM 2765. This is Fircroft, 41 Firstfield Road. This is proposed first floor side extension and ground floor rear glazed canopy. So this is halfway down Firstfield Road on the right-hand side. This is the property here. This is showing where the new proposed first floor it is. This is the current house. And this will show the, quite hard to see, it's full plan, sorry. This is the existing roof line here. And this shows the new extended roof line of the garage. So Councillor Dooley, would you like to start us on this one?
Yeah, I think, to be honest with you, I think this is a pretty sort of straightforward one. It's, which I'm glad after my day so far. But this one, to be honest with you, is they're very large houses down this road, as you're aware. This is just kind of like almost like squaring it off really, and making more use of that angle, and then the canopy at the back. I don't have any issues with that. It's hidden. They're very big gardens, very private. So there's been no neighbour objections. It's been supported by the EG Society as well. So I'm quite happy to propose this one for approval.
Brilliant, thank you. Can I have a second for that, please? Any other comments on this at all? I will just say that this house has undergone a lot of renovation recently. We sat on the plans for it before, and what they've done to this house has made it from a very ugly house to a very attractive house. So I think that if they continue in that vein, it will continue to be very attractive and well done. So I fully support this. So can I have a show of hands in support? Thank you. The DM 2767. This is East Court Lodge, College Lane. They seem to like making applications there at the moment, don't they? Demolition of existing tin shed and prefabricated concrete garage to be replaced with new brick garage and attached store. Changes to the driveway and alterations to fences and gates to replace the existing. I think we're all very aware of East Court Lodge, as most of us drive past it some every day on their way to work. This is the photos of the tin shed and garage. It's not really that detailed plan. There are lots of pictures of the different types of gates and things, but this is the best I could kind of find of what they want the new garage and store to brick to match the house, etc., and timber doors. Councillor Bell, would you like to start, please?
Be delighted, Chairman. I think the work that they're doing down there is making the best use of the space, and this seems highly logical. I would propose that we recommend acceptance.
Thank you.
I second that.
Councillor Favor, thank you. Any other comments at all? I think it looks like it's going to tidy up a rather tatty old garage and shed, so I fully support it. So can I have a show of hands in support, please? Thank you. Okay, finally one of my own. This is DM 201735. This is 2 Crossways Avenue. This is a 2-storey side extension and ground floor front extension. Amended plans received on the 6th of the 8th, showing proposed increase in height of side extension to alter pitch of roof. So this is the house right on the corner of Crossways, with the junction of Blount, typical Imberhorn style house and typical Imberhorn style extension, squaring off the slope. It is a fairly large extension, but there is a lot of room to the side, and it is a corner plot, so it's not going to be directly affecting any neighbours. It's very standard, seen it all over the estate. I completely support this application. Could I have a second, please? Thank you. Any other comments on that? In that case, can I show of hands in support? Thank you. So we have some fun plans on this one. Here we go. This is DM 202587, 20 Hilda Dukes Way. This is to convert half of the garage into utility room with no external changes. I'd be interested, Town Clerk, why this is needing planning permission, but apparently it does. Let's just complete the set, and can we go for Councillor Favor? Would you like to start us off on this one?
Yeah, I think this is a very straightforward. I don't see any problem with this, and I would support the application.
Thank you. Can I have a second for that? And any questions? Does anybody have an answer to why this may need planning permission?
I suspect it's probably a case of they're just double checking to be on, rather than going through the LDC, they probably just made an application, because I agree with you. It looks to me like it should be permitted.
Okay, thank you. Can I show of hands in support, please? Thank you. Okay, so going over to Baldwin's for DM 2723. This is Timberscombe, Lowdales Lane, East Grinstead. Construction of a flat roof extension to the rear of the dwelling and side of the existing extension. Now, this is property, as you can see, next to Baldwin's Hills School. And these are the plans that don't really show a huge amount, but this aerial one does show this kind of infill with a flat roof at the back. Councillor Dooley, would you like to discuss this one?
Yeah, I kind of agree. I looked at the elevations, and I was a bit baffled as to what was going on. There didn't seem to be any changes whatsoever. I flicked between them several times.
This door and window change.
Yeah, it's pretty subtle though, isn't it?
Yeah.
Apart from the fact I'm not really a big fan of flat roofs, I don't really have any issues with this. I'm sounding like Frank now, don't I?
Yeah.
Sorry. No, I don't see any problem with this one. It's basically, as you say, it's almost like it's like squaring off a bit of sort of wasted space really, and making use of it, which I do support. So I would just, there's been no objections to it from anyone, so I would propose this for approval. Nice and straightforward.
Thank you. Can I have a second? Thank you, Tomo. Any other comments on this? And I can have a show of support, please. Okay, thank you. Right, so we go to Herentide for DM 20 2791 15 Harvest Hilly Scrinsted. Variation of condition 2 relating to planning reference DM 19 3205 to allow for amended plans proposed. Floor plan, there's lots of numbers there, to modify the doormat and rear the upper window. In simple terms, I get the exact wording right for you. This is modifications to the doormat and rear upper window. Rear window sill lowered to floor level and inward French doors fitted. So it's predominantly around a change of these doors here. It's not a huge change. I can't see it causing any problems at all, and I would support it. Can I have a show of second for that, please? Sorry. Thank you, Councillor Woodgate. Any questions on this? In that case, can I have a show of hands in support? Thank you. Okay, this is DM 20 2855 31A North End Road. This is proposed dormer to serve apartment 31A stair landing to facilitate as a means of escape. So this is a change to the dormer at the back, overlooking the flats at the rear. Clearly, this is needed for building regs as a way of getting out of the building by the look of it, from what I've read on it. There aren't any objections to it, and if it is required, then I would support it. Have a second for that, please. Okay. Any other comments on this? Okay, so have a show of hands in support, please. Thank you. Finally, tonight's committee is DM 20 2867. This is 27 Fairlawn Crescent, East Grinstead. This is rendered to first floor front elevation. So in simple terms, they want to render the top floor of the building and keep the bottom floor in brick. As if you look carefully at these plans, you can see that the little brick pattern disappears from that plan to that plan. It doesn't really show me quite how they want it to look, if I'm really honest. I look at this house and I look at all the other houses, and all these houses are brick. I don't know why they would want to render only half of it. I don't think it's particularly in keeping with the street scene of the other properties that are around of exactly the same style, two of which we've seen on the agenda tonight, that are all remain brick. I would recommend refusal on this, as I think it will just break up the street scene, and it will break up the feel of the other houses surrounding it, personally. Although I like rendered houses, I don't think this is the right place for them. Could I have a second for that at all? Mr. Bowser. Any other comments or questions on this one? Councillor Bell.
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree. I think my initial reaction was, why? Most people are trying to get rid of Brandon now. There must be some sort of a reason for it, but it's not clear at all in this. And I totally support what you're saying and what we're saying here, that it would ruin the street scene, really.
Yeah, I don't think there's so many brick houses. In that case, can I have a show of hands to recommend refusal on? We go with EG3 for poor design. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Well done, committee. Really good one there with some difficult ones in. Thank you all for your comments and hard work tonight. It's a small committee meeting. I'd like to close the meeting and remind the next meeting is on the 14th of September.
Well done, Mr. Chairman. I'm afraid I've developed a migraine during this evening, but it's lovely to see everybody.
Okay, you go and lock yourself up in a dark room, mate.
Chairman, 7:52. Yes.
7:52.
Thank you.